Hey, what's up everyone? Thunder Bob here, and I am checking out some Back for Blood. So this game is finally here. This is the new game from Turtle Rock Studios, of course, the original studio behind Left 4 Dead, who left Valve and went on to create Evolve. They're back to their roots. The question is, have they recaptured the magic from the original Left 4 Dead? After about 4 hours with the game in the beta, my thoughts are mixed. The campaign seems okay, but there are a few things that really hampered my fun. First off, I gotta say, the gameplay is pretty decent. I enjoyed the gunplay. Um, there were some really cool guns I got towards the end of the campaign that really made it enjoyable. The ADS is not as bad as everyone makes out, and I think you don't have an aim penalty for not using it, like it's optional, but it definitely, I think, increases my accuracy, like when I'm taking my time to line up shots. Um, the melee, on the other hand, I wasn't as impressed with. Some of the weapons didn't feel like they had the right range on them, and I would swing, and just nothing would seem to happen. Though the card that replaces your basic melee attack with a knife is particularly my favorite skill in the game. It's just awesome. An awesome skill to use. So first, the card system is an interesting addition. My hope is that it doesn't become some kind of pay-to-win mechanic down the road like Evolve had. It lets you customize your character at the end of each level. The problem is this really slows down the game and the pace and the time between each level. In the original Left 4 Dead, you'd immediately load into the next level. Here, you finish the match and you see the score screen. And half the time someone forgets to click the ready button and you're sitting on this screen for a while. And then when this screen finally ends, it shows you, and it's loading, and it's loading. Someone forgot to click the button. So it loads back to the next level. But before you jump into that level, it shows you the level. And then it shows you all of your existing cards. Then it shows your corruption card, your starter card. It loads again for a few seconds. It lets you choose your card for the next round to add to your list of cards. Then you click ready. And now you're waiting in this, uh, safe zone. And you find the chest and you can buy items between the rounds. You can buy more ammunition, different upgrades. It's kind of cool. You get this currency in between rounds, but it slows down the game so much. Like in Left 4 Dead, it would be a minute and you'd be ready to go. There's sometimes 5 minutes between rounds, and there are now 8 levels per campaign. So these campaign levels are shorter, maybe 10 minutes in some cases, and then you've got 5 minutes of your team picking cards and picking out new gear. It really slows down the pace of the game. And because there's so many campaign missions now, the campaign doesn't really have like a coherent theme to it. They just feel like a bunch of random missions chained together. Whereas Left 4 Dead had that really cool campaign structure that almost made them feel like mini horror movies. Like you'd have the one that was all about the carnival or the one about the airport, and it was like leading to a destination, and you'd have like little hints along the way about how it was going to end. And none of these levels really felt thematically connected. They were just, here's a swamp level, here's a, level going over a bridge, here's a level in the fog. Like, none of them really jived right together. And since there's 8 of them, the campaign goes on for, I think, too long. Like, I barely wanted to finish it both the times that I played through it. And overall, I feel like I saw enough in the beta that I don't know that I want to play these campaign missions again. So the campaign's fun, and, it feels a lot like Left 4 Dead with some added mechanics and definitely an increased fidelity and graphical level to it. But overall, I don't know how it stands out from Left 4 Dead on the campaign front. And me and a couple of friends who were playing through this, we were just kind of like, are we ever going to play through this again? It was the beta enough, and it might have been. And finally we come to the versus mode, and this is a complete shit show. It's terrible. They've removed the ability to play the campaign in versus, and instead have opted into these small maps where the survivors hunker down and try to survive as long as possible. The fun of the original Left 4 Dead versus mode was you're playing the same levels as the campaign. You set up ambushes, you try to stop their momentum and their movement. Them being stuck in this small little area, like, it removes so much of the strategy of the multiplayer component of Left 4 Dead. I hated the experience. The campaign was okay, but the versus mode was just terrible. And I tried playing it for about an hour straight, and I couldn't get anyone to stay in it for more than a single match. And even then, I didn't even get a full game. Like, no one seemed to be enjoying it. Yeah, I just don't know what the thought process is here. My guess is they made this decision because of the amount of time it would take to balance and make all the campaign levels work in a multiplayer environment. Adding in like ways to get over environment, ways to spawn, places to hide. Like, there is a certain amount of, you know, custom work they need to do on the campaign levels to make them function right in multiplayer. And my guess is that they just didn't have the time or, the willingness to balance them both for campaign and for versus. I also really did not like the infected that you get to choose from. They just were not as iconic or readable when you're playing as the survivors, and they just weren't very fun. Like, you've got what's basically a spitter, except he's like half a tank, and you got a boomer, except he takes way more shots and has like a charge. Like, they've just kind of combined certain infected from Left 4 Dead, and I didn't feel like they were as interesting or iconic as that game. But whatever the reason, what they've given us for versus is just, it's not fun. And with the campaign, only being, mildly entertaining, I can't see paying $60 for this. Maybe when it goes on sale, I'll pick it up. But for the moment, I think I've got my fill in the beta, and I don't know that I will be coming back to it.